Hello and hi, welcome to Yedidia Shofet and welcome to Halacha of the week number 47. So today's question, which was addressed to many of the chief rabbanim, is Ha'im afshar levarech kayom et birkat shechalak mechodo lere'av o shenatan mechodo lebasar v'dam kasher ro'im et hanasi o et rosh hamemshala. Basically the question is like this. When you see a king, when you see a person of great power, great stature, someone who's in rulership of a country, is there any special way to respect him? Is there a bracha that you make? Is there something that you do? So the Rabbanim, they go through the Talmud, the Gemara talks all about when the Rabbanim, they used to have the opportunity to go see a king. What did they used to do? They used to make sure to take that chance, no matter if the king was Jewish or not Jewish. They would make sure to go and see that king. Why? Because if they can see a king with such glory and such power and such awe, and that's just a king of flesh and blood, then how much more so than by seeing and by understanding HaKadosh Baruch Hu, God Almighty. Not seeing, but understanding the capabilities. Because if you see someone as lowly as a human being that's a king, then just imagine how much greater that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is, and just to get people to understand the beginning of that iceberg. Now, why is it said like that? Because we all know that the reason why we had the Mishkan, why we actually had to have all these korbanot and everything, is because we needed something to relate, something physical, in order to relate our spirituality, our ruchniut, in order to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Because us human beings, it's very difficult to actually adapt to something spiritual because we have nothing that's tangible. For instance, when you look at the rule of Kabed Tavicha V'Timecha, that honor your father and mother, where is that under? That's under the category of laws between you and God, not between the laws of man and man. Why? Because in order to love God, you have to understand how to love your parents. So the parents are a conduit. They're basically a medium that how you learn how to have kavod for someone that basically gave you life, that basically nurtured you, took care of you. So if you understand that for your parents, how much more so you're going to understand that for God Almighty. So you run to go in order to respect the king. The question is, what's the bracha? The bracha is like this. Shechalak mechodo lere'av. When you see a Jewish king, you say that Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam, that Shechalak, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he gave from his portion, mechodo, from his kavod, from his honor, lere'av. To those who fear him, he gave him this honor. Basically that God appointed him as a king, because as you know, the kings weren't just bloodline. They were sometimes, but that wasn't the main thing that made him bloodline. The kings made him by those who were worthy. So now that you see HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that he gave from his kavod, from his honor to those kings, those are the ones that you run after and you say, Baruch shechalak mechodo lere'av. You say the blessing. Now, if you're going to go see a king that is non-Jewish, what do you say? The question, you say, or shenatan mechodo de basar vadam, that he gave part of his honor to one who is basar vadam, one who is just flesh and blood. And you say the blessing. So the question is, what about nowadays? By presidents, by prime ministers, by kings, does it have the same ruling or applications? Why? Because before, what was the whole idea of a king? What was the idea of a ruler, a person who was a prime minister, a president, a nasi? What was the whole idea? Because they had such power that they had the power between life and death. They didn't have to go through a whole hierarchy of courtship or all these things to say whether or not off with your head or you have life, you have death. No, they didn't have any of that. By those kings, they had the actual power. They had pure absolute power. So the question is, do you still say the blessing today? So you don't. You don't say the blessing today by these type of kings. Why? Because by a king, by a president, by a prime minister, by all these people, they're all in democratic areas. Now, in a democratic area, they don't have the power of life and death on their fingertips. They have to go through a whole hierarchy. But Chacham Ovadia, what does he say? He says that still, because you are still in awe and sublime from such people, and the Gemara is saying that when you see such people, it's in order to teach you something. You say the blessing, Baruch shechalak mechodo lire'av, or Baruch shenatan mechodo lebasar adam. You say the blessing without God's name. That's when you say the blessing, because you're still applying it. However, he says in a rare instance, if you do see a king that has a complete power, and he's in his garb, meaning that it's not like where you have a whole parliament or whatever it is, Rather, it's someone that he has absolute power in his hand, and he's in his garb, he's in his clothing that shows Bigdei Malchut, clothing of kingship. Then you can actually say the blessing with God's name fully. Now, this is in a situation where, if we have the ability to see, hopefully in other countries, you might have that ability to say the bracha. So once again, the question is there anything that we say? We say blessings, and that blessing is for a Jewish president, Jewish king, shechalak michvodon de'ra'av, and for non-Jewish, for instance, if you happen to see President Obama or President Bush or whatever what it used to be, you would say Baruch Shenatan michvodo lebasar vadam. Now that is the application that you would do. And the next question was, what happens if you see him on television, or do you still say that blessing or not? So that I'm going to leave you with, and I'll answer that next time on Halacha of the Week, week number 48.